Well, stress is basically when the body produces a lot of adrenaline and we start being unable to cope with what's going on around us. It's a condition which we all suffer from, and sometimes it creeps up on you and you don't really know you're under stress until suddenly you become ill, or you take time off work, or you suddenly have a holiday and think, what am I doing with my life? Why am I running my life in this way? So stress can be perceived in lots of different ways. What I wanted to say is that when we're stressful, it doesn't mean that we're not a good person or that we can't cope with life. It just means we need to take time out and reevaluate who we are and what we're doing.
It's become quite a trendy thing to suffer from, hasn't it, stress? You know, I'm going back to the 80s with the yuppie flu and all of that kind of thing. But as you mentioned there, it's a real condition that affects people in all sorts of ways.
It certainly does. I think a lot of us have a lot of stress in our lives. Things have got a lot busier. It's almost like everything's sped up and we're desperately trying to keep up, and we're still trying to control our lives and cope with everything that's going on. And I think a lot of pressure is put on us to be perceived as coping and to be able to juggle everything. And the reality is that we can't. We're just human.
Now, explain the anger side of things. Does that go hand in hand with stress, or are they two different issues?
I think sometimes they run alongside, sometimes they're very, very different. I think a person normally doesn't think that they're an angry person until something actually happens, until suddenly they experience some road rage, or suddenly they're aware that their behaviour is changing at home. They're starting to shout at their children in a way that they didn't used to. They're finding that they don't listen as much, and the way they express themselves is through an outburst. And also anger can be healthy as well. It helps us stay on the ball sometimes. It helps motivate us. So there's always two sides to everything.
That can be said of stress as well. We need a certain amount of stress, don't we, to make us get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, we certainly do. Stress can motivate us. Stress can actually make us perform well sometimes. So you've got to look at it and say, when does it become unhealthy? And I suppose that's where I come in. I help people where their anger or their stress has become unhealthy in their lives and they want to do something about it. Their behaviour has become unacceptable, or the way they manage their life has become intolerable.
So what do you do? How do you help them?
Well, it varies from person to person because everyone's unique. On the first session when I see people, I basically get an outline of their history and look at their specific problems and how they got to where they are. And then if they decide to continue, I would normally see them on a weekly basis for an hour a week, and we'd look at sometimes how their history has created patterns in their life that they just go on repeating. Sometimes it's about learning how to communicate better with their partner or with their family. Sometimes people are in such a situation that they have to look at techniques which are going to help them today. They can't wait to get better. Their situation's unmanageable. So we look at relaxation techniques, stress management techniques. So I work in a very holistic way. And some of my clients see other therapists as well. So we look at working as a collective with that particular person.
Now, obviously, we're approaching quite a stressful and angry time of year, aren't we? Christmas, just round the corner. And you've come up with some ideas on how people can manage
I have.
Those feelings.
I've got my top 10 anger management techniques for Christmas. I had great fun coming up with this list. In fact, I was in London over the last few days, which is a very angry place. So it kind of helped promote these ideas. So these are my top 10 tips. Okay, tip 1. I'm going to call it remote control anger. Okay, so at Christmas, try and organise the TV guide. I'm always amazed how many people fall out over Christmas with what they want to see, but also the fact they want time where there's no TV, because TV sometimes stops conversation. My second tip is expectations. If other people have expectations of how Christmas should be, then let them get involved in making it so. I think there is so much pressure on us to make the perfect Christmas, you know, what's shown in the magazines. And the thing is, everyone has their own perception of how they want it to be, and get those people involved. If they think they can do it better, invite them to do it better. My third one is preparation. Try and do as much prep as you can. Please don't leave things to the last minute. I think that's what creates a lot of stress. The other thing I was thinking about is loss and grief, because I think a lot of people have lost somebody over the year, and I think Christmas can be very stressful. And one of my thoughts is maybe light a candle for them. Maybe give someone a call who could be on their own. You know, it's very easy to put it off. It's very easy to think they don't want to hear from you or that they'll be upset. But I think it's good to remember people as well over that time. My fifth one is support. I think check out with one of your mates if you can give them a ring over Christmas. If you know that you're going to get a bit stressed, give them a call, let off steam so that your anger won't get out of control. My next is opinions. I can remember Christmases falling out with other people, and I think that you've got to remember that opinions are not facts. They're just opinions, and they're what other people think. It doesn't mean that they're right. Don't take things personally. Remember, what others say is about their reality. It's right for them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. If you've got anger that simmers, then you've got to remember that you're probably holding on to a grudge based on the previous Christmas. So stay in the moment. Try not to bring in the other Christmas, dig up history, or project the future. And my last two is alcohol. If you're someone who has a problem controlling yourself after you've been drinking, and that will lead to loss of control, then please check out your anger, your alcohol levels, try and keep them down. And getting it right. If things are not going to plan, remember, you do have another 364 days in the year. It's just another day, if that helps.
Fantastic advice. I could relate to a lot of them. And I think, like you say, there's so much pressure to have it the perfect day. But obviously, as you mentioned there are hundreds of other days in the year to make the most of too.
There are, and if you've forgotten what my top tips were, I've stuck them on the Newleaf website, which is www.newleaf.uk.com, and you can also read about the other therapist on there.
Fantastic.